From last week's episode, I found out I have to leave Panama immediately, or be fined or worse. So I checked out and headed east 50 miles to a place called East Cocos Banderas in Gunayala to set up the boat ready for a passage. This is the South Atlantic Windvane self-steering system. I am connecting the main rudder which steers the whole boat by itself. This job is much easier with a second person, but I can manage it. It's bolted into place. Notice the tether to this rudder just in case it comes free so you won't lose it. Next comes the pendulum arm with the Windvane on top. What I liked about this self-steering system was its robustness. It is bloody strong and also ease of repair and maintenance. The only things that wear are plastic bushes and it takes a long time for them to wear out, and you simply keep a spare set on your boat. No fine gears, nothing really to break, just a durable system. There is a link in the description to South Atlantic Windvane, so check it out. If you wish to buy one, there is also a discount code that you can apply to get it cheaper. And I put in 2 ropes with cleats on the boat to make it easier to change direction. Because of the new self-steering system, the dinghy has to go up on deck as well as the motor. I'm putting it inboard because normally it sits out there on the side and I'm going to get too much interrupted wind flow for the Windvane, so I want that to be steering as good as possible. So this is going inboard. That's the stuff I've got to avoid tomorrow for the first 70 or 100 miles. So I'll be doing this, I reckon. Crazy. So where can I go, given that there's still a possibility of getting munched by a hurricane? There is Costa Rica, but there is no port at all, just one long beach and rocky headland after another. Then there is Nicaragua, which is some places to check in, but with my luck lately, I would likely get robbed. There's lots of piracy around there. So in the immediate vicinity, I really only have Colombia, but there are several options to explore. The first option is to sail down to the Colombian border down here, anchor and get to shore and walk across the border, stamp my passport and walk back to the boat. This is a great option because I don't have to deal with the boat leaving the country at all and all of that paperwork. Then after 3 days, walk back over the border, check out and then sail back to Linton Bay to check back in. The trouble is they have closed that option now due to COVID. Bugger. The next option is to sail to Cartagena, a beautiful city full of very friendly people and very cheap fruit and veggies. I've been there before, but at this time of the year, there is almost always a dead zone of very little wind, so motoring is usually the only option. And then when you leave the dead zone, quite often, especially at night, you will have very, very strong headwinds from this intense band here, making the last 50 or 100 miles a real slog. The best and last option is to go to San Andreas, which also is owned by Colombia. The wind ought to be on the beam, making it a good run. However, as you get closer, the wind often comes from the north more, leaving the last 50 or 100 miles a bit of a slog. However, you may remember we've already grabbed 50 miles east, so we should be able to sail quite easily right through into San Andreas, keeping the wind on the beam the whole way in.
Of course, we still have to punch our way through the first 50 or 100 miles of stormy, fluky, haphazard wind at the start, but we have to do that anyway in any case. Blah, 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 reef here, blah, 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 reef there. The wind was every direction and continually squally, but nothing frightening, and then of course, after the squalls, nothing. But then after, you see a pattern in the squalls, so you start to be able to take advantage of it.
Bloody great! Don't ask me, I'm just running with it. I mean, I only got forewarned that this might happen because the other cell before, I got too close to it and the wind died, but I noticed there was this west component. I thought, well, hang on, I'll run into this one, which I did. Shit, sorry people. So what I did, I just basically got as close as I thought I could and then got on the other tack, and the other tack was marvellous. Look at this. This other tack is great. Crazy. That swell is coming from Cartagena. Normally Cartagena at this time, I think the last forecast, it's like 30, 35 knots at night and 20, 25 during the day. So this swell is coming from Cartagena, and this is our good tack, and we're actually punching into it at 90 degrees. All because we got this west-nor'wester, nor'wester from this cell. Bizarre. Anyway, shouldn't question God. Thank you, God. Keep up the good work. But see the lightning that we had strike, earlier on? Yeah, keep them over there. We have got complete protection now with lightning. Well, when you say complete protection with lightning is getting your boat, sticking it in a tin shed and pulling the mast down and never sailing again. We don't have that kind of protection, but we've got a spike at the top and we've got 4 places at the base of the mast, so I'm using the mast as the actual conductor, and at the base we've got it going to 4 different locations in the hull, so hopefully that should be good. But the closest lightning we got was about 1 kilometre away. We had dual lightning, we had 2 lightning strikes, and the closest one was about 1 kilometre. It was 3 seconds till I heard the first bang. God knows how far the other one was, but it was just past it. I think we're losing wind now. I'm going to have to do something.
And I did lots of tacks for about 12 hours with fluky winds, and then it all came good in the early evening. We were finally out in clean trade wind air, flying along. Of course, it's very important to keep a good lookout, so every 20 minutes you stick your head up and scour the horizon for big ships. At the moment, I'm scouring my inner eyelids. We just started hitting rough water. San Andres is about 30 miles that way, but there's a little island down there. I think it's got a lighthouse on it. It's hard to see. I can barely see. I doubt if you'll see it. There's like a reef there, and we've got 2 different swells wrapping around. We've got some northeast, and now we've got some wraparound effect from the southern part of it, and it's just a mess. I mean, our speed was going 7.5 until I hit this rubbish, and now we're about 5.5. So we might not get in light. So if that's the case, I'm just going to head out to Do you remember Serrana Bank when we got exiled? I'll just sail out there and I'll hang out there for a couple of days. It's supposed to be beautiful weather for after these easterlies. Because we got easterlies, I can make it. It'll only take me till tomorrow, probably tomorrow early afternoon. Oh no, tomorrow late afternoon I can get in. We've got 3 days of hardly any wind. And I can just hang there. So that's the plan. I don't know how the authorities will feel about that. Apparently they're a bit strict around here because all the drugs. So what, am I going to Serrana Bank to bury some drugs? Well, there's not much of an island to bury drugs on. They ought to know that. Anyway, well, at least I'm not getting wet. It ought to calm down in that reef's probably about 5 or 6 miles long. It ought to come down in a few miles. But we need as much speed as we can get, otherwise I'm not getting in daylight. I'm not going into a foreign port, foreign place and not know. We've already had problems with that in the past. Can just make out San Andreas now. They're about 12 mile out. I've got to make a call in a few miles and let them know I'm coming. Otherwise, apparently they're going to arrest me. They're trying to cut down all the drug running boats going up and down here from Colombia. Okay, so I was worried for no reason. We've got our 8.5 knots. I think we're in a bit of current. So the swell's now gone easterly and we're running parallel to it, so it's not taking any speed from us at all. We'll be in a couple of hours before sunset.
Cargo ship going out the channel.
This guy here is my clearing in agent. You aren't allowed to do it yourself. We are going to the port captain's office to be finally cleared in. San Andreas seems to be dispensing with paperwork, so maybe one day everyone will catch on and it will all be electronic. Now that would save a lot of time.
That's very fast.
And then my agent took me to the local shopping centre. What a nice fellow. On the second night of my sail here, I blew out the webbing of the head of the jib and had to bring down that damn heavy sail, which of course I did not film due to the urgency of the matter. Of course it was at 2 a.m, the magic hour of all stuff-ups. Other sailors will know what I mean, but now I need to get someone to sew the damn sail. This was only to be a temporary repair. This sail ought to have been retired 2 years ago. The stitching is almost entirely gone. No UV protection at all. But the machine here is too small to fix it. So back we go for the dodgiest of repairs that you will ever see, people. Have you heard of bolt rope? What about bolt sew? Probably not. Well, I'm about to introduce you to the concept, people. So I'm just going to drill it and bolt it. I don't know of any other way of doing it. Because look, I'm 250 nautical miles from where I want to go. I want to go back down to Panama and check in. So it's probably going to be a 300-mile sail because I'm going to have to go probably wide. Now, this time of year, the winds are light and fluky, especially from halfway. I mean, we've got some good wind today, but that's only going to last for a day. And then it's just thunderstorms and light winds, so I need the big sail. Otherwise, I'll just get clobbered by something. So, and motoring, well, my motor doesn't work that well. So the plan is I'll head more towards Cartagena, and then if the wind dies, which it ought to, then I should have the swell behind me at least, so I don't have to force my way up. So I should be able to get 2.5 knots. But still, I don't want a motor. I mean, this is a sailing boat. Now I've modified an Allen key. I've chopped off its elbow, so hopefully this will make it a lot quicker. After my sewing with bolts, it's time to put the sail back on. Now let's check out San Andreas in 40 seconds or less to see what we can do. Well, you can fly in, flights are cheap in Colombia. You can check this out. I love San Andreas. Oh, well, we know Rick Moore does, and I like it too, people. Fruit, I love fruit. There is oodles of fruit, people, and it's super cheap. If you're one of the tourists, it's best to avoid this beach. Glorious sandy beaches with crystal clear water and the bluest colour you have ever seen, except for Western Australia's Esperance, of course. Well, maybe it's a tie. Does it really matter? It's bloody blue, and that is all that matters, people. The jagged jaws of Death Beach is nice out for a picnic, people, although footwear is recommended, and also a pillow for your bot. You can play soccer on the beach. But don't play soccer on this beach of death and misery, people. And it's got a holiday touristy atmosphere that all can enjoy. Well, except if you are me. I prefer the beach of death. And the sunsets are awesome, simply awesome. And the nightlife, fun and festive, people. I stayed up way past my bedtime to capture this, so I hope you appreciate it. But I couldn't go past 8:30, people. You know, the pumpkin sort of thing happens. This is more like it. Jagged pieces of metal broaching the surface, old boats destroyed in the storm waiting patiently beneath the waves for me to explore, and certain death if I get lost down there. Now this is my type of holiday. Let's go! GoPro 9 malfunctioning again. Because of the weight on the legs of the tripod camera, it's difficult for me to relax between dives. So I just put this on the roof of the ship and catch my breath. And away it goes. Slip sliding away. Slip sliding away. Yeah, I know, I better stop that. Now check out this damselfish. She is one angry damsel. And when I get too close with the camera, whammo. I think I recognise this behaviour in other damsels I've known in the past, people. I'm not sure if I'd like to be her husband. A lot of you out there have been married before, or are still. I'm sure you recognise this face. Grrr!